This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon. Hi guys, I'm here with the final video in my Bakugou series, and this video is a mash of all the remaining clips I had because I didn't have much to make like individual videos for the rest of the pieces. So this clip is showing you how I did the shirt. I took a black tank top and then attached these strips of stretchy orange fabric across the shirt in an X shape and sewed that down using a zigzag stitch. I used stretchy orange material to create the main section of the belt, and then for all the green armor pieces I used 2mm EVA foam cut out in the rectangular shapes, like in the sizes that they needed to be, primed those with Plasti Dip, painted those with acrylic paint, shaded them with oil paint, and then topped it all off with a coat of glossy spray paint. I attached all these to the belt pieces using hot glue, and for the belt that went around the leg and up the leg, I used nylon webbing straps, and I painted them green, although you can buy them in green colors. Sorry, by the way, I don't have any footage of me making the belt that goes around the waist, but it's just a long rectangular strip of fabric, and you can even buy an orange belt to use as a base. I used 2mm black EVA foam to create these circular pieces that attach on the sides of his bands, where the part that goes up the leg connects to the band that goes around the leg. To create this arm section of the glove, I sewed stretchy material in the size that I needed it to be to fit around my wrist. It is just, again, another rectangular shape. And then I created the silver details that you see me gluing on here with hot glue using 2mm EVA foam. So I have one square layer, and then the top layer is a circle with another circle cut out in it. I primed those again with Plasti Dip, painted those with spray paint, shaded those with oil paint, and then topped it off with a coat of clear glossy spray paint. To create the rest of the glove, I made a totally separate thing, and this was again just stretchy fabric that I sewed together after tracing it around my hand and cutting that out. And then I'm attaching on these finger armor pieces that were made from 2mm EVA foam and primed and painted the same way as all the other pieces. Now on to the pouches that attach to the leg portion of his belt. I made these again out of 2mm EVA foam. I patterned them out. It's basically just a bunch of rectangles. I sanded down the sides using a Dremel, glued these together using contact cement, and then primed that in Plasti Dip, painted it with acrylics, shaded it with oil paints, topped it off with a clear glossy coat of spray paint, and glued that onto the bag using hot glue. Not the bag, I glued that onto the belt using hot glue. These can open and close, so for my fixtures for the bag, I just used Velcro, and I attached the Velcro using contact cement. And finally, on to the last piece. This is the knee piece. I cut this out of 6mm EVA foam, and here I'm taking my Dremel and creating these long grooves in the back in a T shape, so straight down the center both ways. And then I'm using contact cement to glue those openings shut. Just make sure not to cut or Dremel through the whole foam, because you don't want it to be separate pieces. What this does is when you glue these shut, they will create these sharp bends on the right side of the foam. Once I've stuck those together, I also attach this bottom small, rainbow shape, I guess you would call it, or this long half oval shape of the knee piece, and I attach that at an angle. So I've Dremeled both the edges that are connecting to one another at an angle, and then glued those together so that there's another slight bend to this shape. You're going to want to look at a reference photo to see what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the bends that this has, but you can also see it here. And what I'm doing here is Dremeling in these details that his knee armor has. And I'm using a very small Dremel head to do this, and then I'm going back in with a more kind of pointed Dremel head to smooth that out and better shape it. I add some battle damage using a Dremel, and then I Dremel down all of the edges to make sure everything's smooth and ready for priming. To prime this piece, I use wood glue, about 3 to 5 layers of it, and then I use spray paint to paint it, oil paint to shade it, and then top it off with a coat of clear glossy spray paint. And that is it for this video. I hope you guys found this video helpful despite it being really short clips for some pieces, and check out future videos. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day. Bye!